What is up, Toretos? I'm the Tick13, or Adam, whichever one you want to call me, and welcome to my video. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, this one's pretty interesting. This is one that a lot of people actually suffer with. A lot of people experience some form of it, but not everyone experiences it as extremely as others. So what are we talking about? Anxiety disorders. Mainly general anxiety disorder, but also social anxiety disorder. Now, what is an anxiety disorder? Well, you see, most of us experience anxiety quite a lot. It's the stress that builds up. It's the stress of having to do things, wow, or needing to get something done, or just general stress. It's basically that, but it goes, when you have the disorder, it goes on all the time, and it just never stops. By the way, for those of you who clicked on the video for the video title, or just coming out to check on my channel, please know, the reason I make noises is because I have Tourette's, and I have ADHD. Tourette's causes me to make noises, ADHD causes me to be a bit more hyperactive than most children. Woo! Wow! Not that I'm a child, I'm a teenager. I'm like, how old am I? 16, bruh. Wanna go? Yeah! Now that's sort of true, it goes on all the time, but there can be days when it doesn't happen, but most of the time it does happen, so it happens more often than not. And you're basically stressing out about everything, about when that thing's due, or when that's due, or whether you have to do that stuff, and blah blah blah. It's just a bunch of craziness. Now, here's an interesting fact for you. 14% of Australians have it. Now, you might be thinking that's not a lot. That is a lot, that's quite a lot. We have like a couple of million people, I don't know. I know, not as many as some other places. Well done, China, you win a prize. Now, some behaviors that accompany it are these. Being over-conforming. In other words, you conform to rules a lot, or you conform to other social surroundings. So you conform a lot. Check. 2. Being a perfectionist. In other words, you want to get everything done perfectly, and if it's not done perfectly, then it's not right, and you're not going to hand it in or do it. Check. Number 3, being unsure of oneself. You don't feel as though you're doing as best as you can, and you don't feel confident in yourself. You kind of have no self-esteem. Sort of check. Number 4, needing to redo tasks. In other words, when you do something like a school project or something, you need to redo it because it's not right, it's not there, it's not perfect, it's not the best thing. Checkity check. And the final behavior that can accompany an anxiety disorder is seeking regular and frequent approval from people like your parents or your teachers or your friends or your siblings. In other words, we always need approval from them. We need to be doing something that is up to their standards. Frigging check! Biggest check in the world! In case you haven't already figured it out, I have an anxiety disorder. Yes! Me! I have general anxiety disorder, which is what we just talked about now. But I also have social anxiety disorder. Now, you may find that strange, because I'm talking to the camera, and I'm talking to you guys, and I'm bubbled up, and I'm like, oh, friggin' wow! But if you've watched my previous videos, you know that when I talk to people one-on-one, I get very anxious. And when I'm in a new surrounding with people, I get very anxious, and I can't talk to them. Of course, I'm talking to a camera. It's a camera. I wish I was talking to you guys personally, like you guys could react as well. That'd be friggin' wicked! But I'm not. I'm talking to a camera. Now, people with general anxiety disorder also have a tendency to say, yes, but what if? Now, this is something that really heightens the anxiety for people because something can be right, like they can give you a task and you can say, yes, but what if this happens in the task? Then what am I going to do? And pretty much people with anxiety, they never stop thinking of what if. They never stop thinking of the negative that can happen. And it doesn't mean that we're negative people, it's just that we're stressing about what's going to happen next. We want it to be perfect. We don't want anything to go wrong. We could basically do a task that'll get us 85%, but being a perfectionist like myself, I need to get at least above 90% to 100%. 100% I need to get. So I will be working on that even more. I'll make sure that I get to 100%. And that stresses me out a lot. It's actually not healthy. I mean, sure, I get the marks for it, but it's not healthy. I could probably get the marks doing it in a less stressful environment. Now, anxiety disorders can show up during child years, so during your younger years, but they only fully develop during your adolescence. So basically in your adolescence, when you're a teenager, is when it starts to really show. Wankers! Yeah. So myself being an adolescent, and others that are adolescent, they will see small problems as giant catastrophes with an anxiety disorder. Like something small can just completely make us freak out and be completely over-emotional about it. We're almost neurotic in the sense, but we're not neurotic. That'll be saved for another video. Now there are 4 things that can cause anxiety disorders. Number 1, it can be caused by ongoing stressful events. Basically, if you keep being present to stress, and stress is being present to ongoing, and it never stops, you can develop an anxiety disorder. Another thing that can also develop an anxiety disorder is physical problems, such as hormonal problems, or diabetes, or asthma, and it goes on and goes on. So if it causes stress to you, it can eventually, you might get an anxiety disorder. It's not 100%, but it's like, wah! Another one for all you naughty children out there is substance use. In other words, if you're drinking or if you're smoking cannabis, that could also lead to an anxiety disorder. So watch out, you've been warned. It also can be developed if you have certain personality traits, such as people who are perfectionists, people who get easily flustered, people who lack self-esteem, and people who want to control everything. There are 3 other types of anxiety disorders that you may be familiar with. One of them, OCD, that's an anxiety disorder. And I have a video on that, so go check out that video if you want to learn about OCD. I'll put a link up over here. Wow! There's like a link there for like OCD. Alright. What was I talking about? By the way, my tics are going pretty well if you wanted to know, like, actually not that bad right now. Another one which you may be familiar with is panic disorder. In other words, a panic attack disorder. So you have panic attacks. I have a close friend who has panic attacks quite a lot. So I'll make another video for that in the future. Maybe next week I'll have one on panic attacks and you can watch that video, so stay tuned and watch that video! And the third one, which you're probably very familiar with because I've already said it in this video, is social anxiety disorder, which I've already told you about. I don't think I need to make another video on that one because that one's pretty self-explanatory. I've already said most of the stuff I need to say. So yeah, now, what can you do to help yourself with anxiety? Well, probably the easiest option is to take medication for it. These things can be things such as antidepressants or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Now these things can help with anxiety and can reduce the stress a lot and make you not feel like you're crowded in a bubble and stressed out and like, ah! Well anyways, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you guys next week. Remember, keep on ticking and subscribe and hit that like button because I love that. Your feedback that you guys have been giving me and all your comments are absolutely wonderful. I cannot ask for anything better. You guys are doing an excellent job at showing me your feedback. So I love you guys for that. Honestly, I love you guys. So anyways, goodbye. Wow!